Welcome to Pop Cult, where we talk reality TV, celebrity chaos, and pop culture throwbacks.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Pop Cult. We're your hosts. I'm Avery.
And I'm Julia.
And we post 2 episodes every week. Tuesdays are for Reality Digest, where we cover the previous week's reality TV moments and latest celebrity chaos. And Thursdays are for the Fame Files, where we revisit defining stories throughout pop culture history. And today is our next Fame Files episode, and we're talking about the Mormon swinger scandal.
Beautiful. Really exciting.
I have been very excited to write this one because it's so insane and it's so funny, honestly, and it's just a really good story. And the reason I've chosen to do it this particular week is because the new season of Secret Lives with Mormon Wives was released today. And I mean, I just know it's going to eat. Like, I don't see this show ending anytime soon in the near future.
Oh, I don't either.
So
no way.
I just know it's going to be fabulous. Obviously, you know a lot about this because we're both very up on this world. But is there anything that you're excited to hear about or that you're expecting to hear about?
I think more of maybe the details. Obviously I know Taylor and her ex-husband were involved, and then Miranda and her ex-husband were involved, and I think there was a third couple that I don't know much about that maybe we'll talk about.
Correct. You were absolutely right. Before we get into it, don't forget to follow us on socials at pop.cult.podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and we also post the episodes on YouTube. So if you're not much of a Spotify or Apple user, which are the other 2 platforms that we post the episodes on, and we post little announcements every day that we upload an episode so you can see what they're about, and we'll post little clips here and there if you feel so inclined to take a look and
take a little listen.
Speaking of our socials, one time Mormon wife Jessie, liked one of our stories twice.
It was a beautiful moment.
Yes, it was very exciting for me. She's probably my favorite Mormon wife. I loved it. Loved hearing from her. But without further ado, let's get into it. This is the Mormon swinger scandal. So on May 20th, 2022, many years ago, feels like forever ago this happened, but also yesterday, TikTok influencer and content creator Taylor Frankie Paul posted a TikTok with on-screen captions that read, quote, "In my 20s, getting divorced, starting therapy, living on my own for the first time ever with 2 little kids," end quote. Followed by another video captioned, "My life falling apart, and I can't even speak on why without bringing them all down with me."
Scandal.
Cryptic. So cryptic.
For sure.
The posting of these videos immediately started a whirlwind of theories, and people started commenting on her videos, calling her a cheater and a husband stealer. Following these comments being posted, members of her well-known social media friend group known as MomTok started liking comments about her being a cheater and a husband stealer for the world to see.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
And then on May 25th, so 5 days after she was going on a social media rampage, she really just put it all out there. Frankie Paul dropped an absolute bombshell on a TikTok live to her 3.5 million TikTok followers. She announced not only her divorce from her husband, Tate Paul, confirming the rumors and the speculation, but she dropped that she and Tate were swingers. She explained that the reason that she was getting a divorce was because while she and her husband were engaging in soft swinging, in quotes, she broke the rules of their swinging agreement.
Wild.
This was obviously shocking for the simple reason that most of us don't hear about, regular people swinging on a daily basis. And also because she had just this massive following, it just seems insane to be putting those kinds of details about your life out to this many people. But it was the most shocking because of the fact that she had built her platform as an influencer on the basis of being a Mormon mom. So let's back it up a little bit, because how on earth do we go from appearing as a devout member of one of the most strict religions on earth to literally being a swinger? Like, the Mormon church does not play when it comes to things like this.
They never do.
They never do. I'm going to run through quickly a little bit of background on the Mormon church, also known as the Church of Latter-day Saints, and some of its rules to keep in mind throughout this episode. So some things that are banned in the Mormon church, and some of these are related to swinging as a concept, and some of these are just like me throwing this out here because I want everyone to understand truly how strict this religion is. Things that are banned in the Mormon church include, but are not limited to, smoking, drinking alcohol, premarital sex, caffeine, cursing, tattoos, piercings other than one piercing on each lobe, and divorce is also highly frowned upon. It is allowed, but it's frowned upon. That's one that's like important to keep in mind. Some of their thoughts on women is that the men are the head of the household and women are to be childbearers and mothers and are to obey their husbands. So those are just some things to keep in mind about the Mormon church if you're not an avid watcher of all Mormon content like I am. I've watched like every single documentary and docuseries about the Mormon church. It's so fascinating to me. Not in a good way, but that's neither here nor there. So now we have our ground rules set up. Let's talk about a little bit about our main character of this story, who actually is Taylor Frankie Paul. At the time in which the scandal broke, Taylor Frankie Paul was a 28-year-old member of the Mormon church living in Draper, Utah, with her husband, Tate Paul. They have 2 kids together, Indy and Ocean, and she started to gain a major following on TikTok in 2020 when she started going viral by sharing moments of her life, basically just like dance videos sometimes with her husband, sometimes their kids would make a rare appearance, just like your typical influencer type content, day in the life, those lenses into people's lives that we all love to watch for some reason. During that year, she and a few other Utah influencer moms started MomTok. Okay, when I was like writing this episode, thinking about MomTok as a concept, which for the listener, it's like the word mom and then talk, T-O-K, as in TikTok. Just in case anyone was like, what am I saying? The concept of MomTok is genuinely something that I think that would send a Victorian child into a coma.
Oh my god, absolutely.
Like, you know how that was like a meme for a
Yeah.
while? Like, what
No,
would
I
send a
remember
Victorian?
that.
That's how I feel about MomTok. But what actually is MomTok? It is a group of mothers located in Utah who are part of the Mormon church and truly gained so much of their following on the basis of being part of the LDS church. Like, people were so fascinated and still are by their lives as Mormons with just all the mystique around the religion. They keep a lot of things private. Like, there are certain ceremonies that anyone who's not part of a church like can't even be in their what they call their temple for, and it's very secretive. But I think they were also just infatuated with these young mothers. These women, some of which had 2 or 3 kids already, were so young. I even think some of them were as young as like age 23. But they're also all like drop dead gorgeous. And everyone loves to watch pretty people do, normal things. Some already had multiple children, some were pregnant, some had newborns. It was really like sort of all stages of life happening, but they were all relating upon the fact that they grew up in this very strict religion that tries to tell them to act a certain way, but also they're kind of like building a livelihood for themselves with this social media career. So the original group of MomTokers consisted of Taylor Frankie Paul, our main character, a woman named Camille Monday, and Miranda McWhorter, who these 2 women, Taylor Frankie Paul would sometimes call them, like jokingly, her sister wives, which is ironic.
Yeah. I don't know who the Camille one is, but obviously I know Miranda and Taylor.
Yes, most everyone would, if they watch the show, would know Miranda starting from season 2. Camille is she's not on the show at all, and she's a smaller character in this whole fiasco, but we'll talk about her a little bit. The group eventually expanded to include Taylor Frankie Paul, Whitney Levitt, Macy Neely, and Michaela Matthews, who all started filming content together around January of 2022. So like a few months before Taylor broke the scandal. Joining a little bit later was Jennifer Affleck, Demi, is it Engelman? I don't know how to say her last name.
I don't know either. Nor do I know how to say Jesse's.
No, Jesse's last name is crazy. We'll just say Demi Engelman and Jesse. I'm guessing it's Nagata Kora. I probably just butchered that, but if you just look her up, just Jesse on Instagram, and Layla Taylor. All of these women joined like a little bit later. And this is the core cast of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Mm-hmm.
Their videos were primarily TikTok dances, beauty routines, small snippets into their day-to-day lives, some more like day in the life type content. and they would film different videos together. So they had obviously individual videos on their pages, but they would also sort of like get together on these content days and film like a shitload of stuff while the entire group was there. And I think that they started to notice like our engagement's better. We're getting more likes. We're getting more followers when all of us are in these videos and we're collaborating. They had millions of people following and watching them, fascinated by their lives as Mormon women and mothers, but their clothes, the dances, and just like what was perceived as their lifestyles and overall attitudes in general seemed to contradict a lot of what the Mormon church stood for. And at one point, they have stated before that their goal was really to pave a new path for Mormon women by removing the judgment that they've often felt due to the strict rules of the Mormon church. Taylor Frankie Paul says, if she says herself about starting MomTok, we were raised to be these housewives for the men, serving their every desire. Well, I'm like, fuck this. So I created MomTok, started as a group of Mormon moms making TikToks. There was something freeing about it, which is so Taylor, I feel like, even just reading
It
that
is,
quote.
for sure.
And like a great goal, by all means, you know? If your religion doesn't allow you to go out and get a job, create one. Create one by making TikToks.
Love it.
They ultimately have become some of the most successful influencers on the internet, many of them replacing their husbands as the primary breadwinner, and some even getting to the point where their husbands are stay-at-home dads because they were making more in one brand deal than their husband's entire yearly salary.
I wish.
Which is crazy to think about. I don't know how we've gotten to this point. So how does a group of Mormon mom friends become swingers? Do you have a theory?
Do I have a theory?
If you didn't know this story, do you have a theory?
I don't know. Maybe like I would feel it as if it's like the husband's idea, but I truly have no idea.
Well, neither did anyone else. So we're going to jump back to where we started with this TikTok live where Taylor Frankie Paul exposes not only her divorce from her husband, but also the details of this swinging scandal. She says in her video, and this is just a snippet, obviously this was like a several minute long video, but a part of what she said was, quote, there was a group of us that were intimate with each other. All of us were pretty open to it and on board for it. Obviously, no one was forced. We did this on occasion. We would have parties, and everyone by the end of the night would go and do all that. It happened several times. She stated that there were other people in her MomTok friend group who were involved, saying, quote, everyone has hooked up with like everyone, end quote. But she never specified who.
That was crazy of her. Like, you might as well.
Right. That was like part of the controversy, right? And like we even see it in the first season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It's like, you know, she put a lot of these women who weren't involved in tough positions having to explain things to their husbands, to their extended family, to the church, which, like, agree with it or not, the church does have very strict rules. And if, you know, if these particular people who weren't involved feel strongly about their place in the church and wanting to be involved, then it's kind of like that's detrimental to them and their future with their church. So I think it was maybe about a year and a half after she did the TikTok live, she went on the Vile Files, which is one of my favorite pop culture podcasts. And she was talking about how the swinging first started when she was at a party with her husband at the time, Tate, and other couples. She said, quote, I think we were all drinking and partying and the guys were like, you girls should make out. And that's that. It wasn't a big deal to me.
Did I not say it was the husband's idea?
You did say that. I honestly had forgotten that detail. And yeah, things just escalated from there, she says. She refers to what they were doing as something that she calls soft swinging, which is not really an established concept. And she describes it as, quote, soft swinging is when you do other things, but you don't go all the way, if you can read between the lines. So basically allowing their partner to engage in intimate acts with other people, but with limitations. And she said in her live that, quote, the whole group was intimate with each other. So what they're doing is, like, obviously not only against their religion, but also just not necessarily a widely accepted practice. Like, I wouldn't really say that even in the very evolved world that we live in, that like swinging is something that people are like completely kosher with. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah, I think it's still a bit taboo. And I think it continues. I mean, obviously this was in 2022, but I think that that's still the case today.
Yeah.
So I think, like, with all of this in mind, the fact that she is part of the Mormon church, this is going to piss off people in her life. swinging as a concept is just not really something that most people understand. Why is she coming forward and not only exposing herself, but everyone else along with her? She's literally like taking everyone down at the same time.
You might as well.
So to answer this question, we're going to go back to those videos that she posted 5 days earlier, on May 20th, 5 days before she posted her TikTok live, where people were commenting and calling her a cheater and a husband stealer. Taylor says that she does not know who leaked what or even exactly what got leaked, but suddenly people knew some sort of details in order to comment on her posts accusing her of these things. So she's essentially thinking like, I don't know if they know we were swinging. I don't know if they know that I stepped out of that swinging agreement. I don't know if they know who, but somehow they know that I maybe cheated. So because of that, she wanted to take the narrative into her own hands, and that's why she did the TikTok live on that one fateful day.
I don't blame her for that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, if people are gonna, there's so much speculation online, it's like, it's gonna get out there eventually. You might as well do it yourself. She explains in her video, the agreement was, as long as we were both there and we saw it and we knew it, it was okay. The second it goes behind without each other, you've stepped out of the agreement. And I did that. So she admits that she cheated on her husband and had a sexual relationship with another man involved in their swinging group outside of the bounds of swinging. So this was an affair. She says that she fell in love with this other man who, mind you, was married to someone else as well. That's important. One of her friends, but we will come back to that.
Okay.
She also...
I want to know now.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably coming up soon. I just can't remember where in the episode it is. She also says that she and the man who she stepped out with, had feelings for each other, but that their indiscretion had only happened once. Because of everything Taylor Frankie Paul knew, she was pissed off that she was taking the brunt of the backlash and says that she was shunned by her friends and the rest of the swingers after breaking the scandal. So this is both like the girls that we know well from MomTok, but also people who she was swinging with, like all of them kind of like took a step back. But she also says that no one was innocent, and also alleged that other people in the group had also had feelings for people that weren't their partner. And she's backing this up by basically saying that there were 2 divorces happening in the friend group, hers and another one, and that were directly because of the cheating scandal. So we'll get into this a little bit further, but all 3, you're correct, there were 3 couples participating in the swinging. All 3 of them were getting divorced after she broke this scandal, or like in the midst of it. And 2 of those divorces were directly related to her and this other man stepping out of the swinging agreement. But she felt that others weren't being honest, but they also weren't innocent, and she was taking the blame. Like, they're liking nasty comments towards her, and those who were involved were making statements that they weren't involved, so they're just like blatantly lying. She wanted to control her own narrative by just coming clean and blowing the whole thing up. About their agreement, she says in her live, we had an agreement, like all of us, and I did step out of that agreement. That's where I messed up. No one was innocent. Everyone has hooked up with everyone in this situation. So yes, I'm getting shunned for doing that, but it wasn't like I was going around hooking up with my friend's husband. I was friends with these people, and we spent a lot of time together. We were intimate on several occasions. Tate has made out with several girls and done other things, and I've made out with all the husbands and done other things.
I feel like she should have been a little bit more specific instead of saying all, because that's just alluding to like every single MomTok person, and that's just like a little unfair. But
yes, exactly. She did say, while she really exposed all of these details in a very blunt way, she did also state that the majority of MomTok was not involved.
Okay.
But still, to your point, we need specificity. Like, yes, the majority of MomTok wasn't involved, but now you're leaving people open to like, even more speculation.
If you're gonna blow it all up, just say first and last. Like, why do we have to gatekeep that detail?
Exactly. The other women that we knew well we know now very well from MomTok made statements that they were not involved in the swinging scandal, and they weren't. But there were also people who were making statements that they weren't involved, and they were. So it's kind of like, who are we gonna believe here? So that is the question: who was involved? There were 4 couples that were speculated, but only 3 were actually involved that we know of. I mean, of course, like, who knows? Like, maybe there were other couples involved, but these are the 3 that we know that were confirmed that Taylor and they have also talked about. The three couples were Taylor Frankie Paul and her husband Tate Paul, Miranda and Chase McWhorter, and the third couple who I was not familiar with and who you are also not familiar with are named Braden Rowley and McKenna Gibbons.
Yeah, I got no idea who they are.
I know, it's kind of crazy how we don't know anything about them. All three of these couples are now divorced.
Yikes.
The fourth couple that people speculated about was MomTok OG Camille Monday and her husband, whose name I'm unsure of. People definitely speculated that she and her husband were involved. I'm assuming just because of like how close she was with Taylor, but there is nothing that indicates that they were. And Camille and her husband did not even have to come to their own defense because Taylor said at one point that she and her husband were not involved because they brought, quote, too much drama.
Okay.
Which is
Sure.
kind of funny. Even though Taylor, went online, cleared her name, the news of the scandal did end their friendship for a while, but I think in April of 2024, Camille posted on Instagram with Taylor and captioned her post, "Things happen, people make mistakes, but it's important to live, grow, learn, and move on." So that was nice. I think it's also important to keep in mind that all of these women are still so young. Yes, they're adults, but many of them were only like in their mid to late 20s.
She wasn't involved, but I think Layla was 22 in season 1.
Yeah, like they're
with
all
2
just
children.
And that was what, like 2023 or 2024? So when,
Yeah, that was a while ago.
it's just, it's just crazy. I think it's like when you think about the fact that a lot of them have been able to, spoiler alert, repair these friendships, it's kind of like impressive to me because, you're just young. And then on September 11th of 2022, so a few months after the scandal broke, Camille made a TikTok video talking about the situation. She apologized and owned up to involving herself in a situation that didn't concern her by commenting about Taylor and the scandal, even though she didn't really know the details. I believe that she was one of the ones who was liking the comments about Taylor being a cheater and a husband stealer.
Okay.
So that being said, whose husband was she trying to steal, allegedly?
Great question. I think I know.
You very well might. Jumping all the way to 2024, an episode of this podcast called Only Dads, which I think is supposed to be a play on OnlyFans, which is like weird to me.
Okay.
Braden Rowley confirmed that he was part of the soft swinging group, but denied that it was really swinging. About the scandal of it all, he says, number 1, don't have an affair again, and number 2, don't do it with a TikToker. So, in this episode of his podcast, he exposes himself. This is how we find out. There's speculation. Obviously, Taylor is claiming that there was only 2 other husbands involved in this scandal, so it can 50-50 chance, but he confirmed for the first time that he is our culprit. He is who she cheated with.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Chase.
We'll get there.
Okay.
This is a storyline in the show, but you might not remember. So a little bit about Braden McKenna Gibbons, who's Braden's now ex-wife.
I cannot find her Instagram. I don't think she exists anymore.
Really? Interesting. Maybe she follows some of them. That's crazy. Braden and McKenna have 1 child together, and they divorced relatively shortly after Taylor broke the scandal. But it wasn't until November 25th of 2024, so over 2 years later, McKenna Gibbons posted a 5-part TikTok story time about the details of the situation. She has now deleted it, but the gist is that she said she and her ex only participated twice in the soft swinging, and that the most that they did was switch partners at point. McKenna claims that she could tell that there might have been feelings growing between Taylor and Braden, and she was obviously not okay with that. So she said that she addressed what she was noticing with her husband after their first time swinging, and he said to her, quote, "Actually, I talked to her after the cabin, and we both recognize that we get along really well and that things could grow. We both don't want to go down that route because we're happy in our marriages," end quote. Which is like an actually insane thing to come out of somebody's mouth, and like the immediate words that follow are not, "We're getting a divorce." Like, why are you acting like this is just like a girl in your high school that has a crush on you?
Why would he like say that to her?
I don't know. Clearly the lines were just so blurred and they just had no idea what was going on.
Okay. Also, I did find her Instagram. She only has 3,000 followers. She is remarried. Or not remarried, she's engaged.
Okay.
Oh wait, maybe she is married. Yep. She got married on October 5th to Hunter.
That's so crazy.
Hunter, I don't know, he has 12,000 followers. That's impressive.
God, they marry off fast in this Utah culture, Mormon culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So yeah, he makes this insane comment to her about how they're both like, we like each other, but we don't want to ruin our marriages. So
Like, what?
Like, just so flippant. Like, I would have been freaking out. Anyways, it obviously did not last long after that, because then she claims that after the second time that they were involved in the swinging, she told him, I guess she got uncomfortable with it and told him, if this is what you want, then we can divorce now because I won't participate.
Fair.
After this conversation with her husband, she says that she had a conversation with Taylor, that they were done participating, and that was that. She also said that once they stopped swinging, their marriage really started going downhill, and Braden later told her that he had kissed Taylor outside of the parameters of their swinging agreement. And McKenna found out even later from some of Taylor's friends, I'm not sure who, that they had actually slept together.
I always thought Taylor is always saying that she never slept with anybody.
During the swinging, when they were all there, but she and this man slept together outside of the agreements of the swinging.
No, I know that, but like I'm saying, like, when she said she stepped out of the like agreed upon parameters, she never said that she slept with anybody. So that's interesting. But I could be wrong about that. I just thought she never said that she actually did that. They just like kissed outside.
She definitely may have, because I feel like details are honestly still coming out about this scandal sometimes. So
yeah, for sure.
That wouldn't be surprising. A friend also told McKenna that Taylor and Braden had been meeting up for a while at Home Depot, which was so random.
That's random.
Like, why Home Depot? Is that the only place you guys have to meet up at in Utah? Like, I'm confused. And while they were like having these covert meetups, they told each other that they loved one another and planned to leave their partners.
Interesting. Okay.
So, which, I mean, keep in mind, this is a friend telling McKenna this. So technically it's not from Taylor Frankie Paul's mouth.
Yeah.
Which I generally feel like is spewing the truth, to give her the benefit of the doubt. But the same day that McKenna posted her 5-part TikTok series, Taylor posted her own TikTok saying that, basically disputing all these details, and she said that McKenna never asked to stop the soft swinging and that she was one of the instigators, and she sent her husband to get Taylor.
What?
Like, insane. Taylor showed videos of she and McKenna kissing, a photo of Taylor and Braden, of what the context of that photo was, I'm not sure, and also screenshots of text messages between her and McKenna. I'm assuming like validating some of what she's saying. I don't know exactly what the text messages said.
So McKenna said they only participated twice, and Taylor was like, stop lying.
Yes. Taylor's like, I have text messages. I'm assuming that the text messages have some sort of evidence that McKenna was like asking to swing. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know why these women kept making videos. Like, if these are lies, I don't know why they kept making videos telling lies, thinking that Taylor was not unhinged enough to come out and tell the truth.
For real. Like, she's not gonna lie.
She's not to be played with. On these posts that Taylor made in response to McKenna's videos, Taylor says in her caption, quote, well, she deserves an acting award. The amount of times she wanted to play, end quote.
LOL. That's funny.
I'm gonna get, the girls are fighting. But ultimately, it's like all kind of a moot point, because McKenna says that Braden's infidelity is in fact what led to their divorce. So it's not like, you know, McKenna's playing this game of like, well, if this is true, then I would have to divorce him. If this isn't true, then, you know, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
So that's couple number 2. So we have Taylor and Tate and McKenna and Braden.
Okay, I'm on board now.
Yeah. So remember how I mentioned Braden's podcast, Only Dad?
Unfortunately, I do.
Right, for sure. That's, I mean, disturbing.
The dumbass name.
Like, what in the world? Why does he have a podcast? Like, what does he have to talk about?
I just looked it up and they haven't posted since February.
Okay, well, his co-host is none other than Miranda's husband, Chase McWhorter.
Of course.
Right. They were like, oh, bro, we should totally start this podcast now that we've been involved in this swinging scandal.
Yeah.
That's how I'm imagining that conversation going.
I agree.
Now that Taylor put us on the map,
we have this opportunity to take this.
Like, bro, like, honestly, sucked that she put that out there, but like, maybe this could work out
but
for
like,
us.
we should profit off this.
Chase eventually revealed on the podcast that they were the third couple involved in the swinging scandal, while Miranda had denied their involvement previously.
Maybe they should have discussed that as a married couple.
For sure. For sure. In order to explain Miranda's falling out with Taylor without admitting their involvement, they claimed that it was due to Taylor starting a rumor that Chase had feelings for Taylor.
That's the storyline in season 3, right?
Yes, correct. So because Miranda was no longer friends with Taylor after the swinging scandal, she felt that they needed some sort of reasoning to like explain to their followers and to the public. So she led people to believe that it was because Taylor had started this rumor that her husband was like also after Taylor. So in this situation, both of the other husbands involved in the swinging were after Taylor, were interested in her. But in Taylor Frankie Paul's podcast episode on the Vial Files in September 2024 that I mentioned earlier, she also said that before her physical affair with Brayden, one of the other husbands in the group told her that he had feelings for her. This was Chase. So Chase, so like I suppose, you know, Miranda knew this, and that's why she was like just saying that it was a rumor. But Taylor is confirming this on the podcast, like obviously a couple of years out. And on January 18th of 2025, so literally this year, which is crazy to think about, Taylor Frankie Paul released screenshots of messages from Chase basically saying that he had a secret that he needed to tell her, and he was asking if they could speak in person sometime soon.
I need to see these receipts. I want to see these screenshots.
Right? Like, I need to go back and watch that podcast episode, honestly, but it's so long, and I felt like I had found plenty of information.
You're good.
So I didn't. But yeah, so I mean, like, I think probably she released these text messages at this time because I think season 2 of Mormon Wives premiered relatively close to January 18th of this year. So I'm sure that she knew that it was going to come up as a storyline with her and Miranda. And she's like, I'm going to cover my ass.
Yeah, fair.
But nonetheless, Chase and Miranda did get divorced in 2023. So just like calling back to what we talked about at the beginning of the episode with some of the things that the Mormon religion looks down upon, divorce being one of them, we now have 3 out of 3 couples divorced in this scenario, which I just think is so painfully ironic. But honestly though, anyone who watched The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is probably familiar with Miranda and knows that she and Chase have 2 kids together, and also from my perspective and from what she said on the show, they seem to have a pretty decent relationship with one another.
It seems so. That just that Halloween party was so weird, but we don't have that'll be discussed later.
It was so weird, I know. And honestly, the only benefit of the doubt that I can give her is that she wasn't really involved in the argument. Like, I do think she seems like a very level-headed
He was being
Zen person.
He was being odd.
Yeah. But Miranda was extremely quiet about her involvement in the swinging up until the 2nd season of the show. She joined the cast after declining to be in season 1.
Sketch.
Right. She even initially lied about she and her husband's involvement in the swinging and basically says that she just freaked out when Taylor revealed everything, so she just denied it all. And in her first appearance on the show, Miranda says that her involvement was only minimal, stating, quote, "The height of what I was ever involved in was like playing spin the bottle and like kissing other people," end quote.
Liar. Okay.
So then we come to find out that Taylor Frankie Paul claims that it was way more than just kissing, and it actually ran a lot deeper. After they had started swinging, we come to find out that Taylor had actually told Chase that she had a dream about him of the scandalous category, which then led Chase to tell Taylor that he had feelings for her, to which Taylor said that she did not feel the same. So here's the thing. Taylor was in the wrong for even telling him that in the first place, because I'm sure that she could tell that he probably was like kind of having feelings for her.
Yeah.
But obviously it's Chase's responsibility to be a faithful husband. However, I do feel like in all of this, that for me, if I were Miranda, that's what would have made me the most hurt, is me feeling like she was opening up the door for my husband to be like flirtatious with her.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. In episode 3 of season 2 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Taylor lists out a bunch of things that she claims Miranda and Chase participated in, which I am not going to repeat. You can go watch it for yourself. But it was definitely just more than kissing. And Miranda's response to this was simply, I mean, Taylor's not wrong.
So, like, why lie to just be honest later, but whatever.
Right. No, it's the $1 million question. She does say that she regrets denying the allegations and that not coming clean really just made her look worse than if she had just been honest. But she was scared of the backlash because of her feeling like she had a reputation to uphold within the Mormon church. Like, I really think that that's what it was. She's like, I just am trying to be as vague as possible, even if somebody, I think for her, it was like, I would rather someone else expose it for me than me have to say what I did myself.
Okay.
So that's my read on the situation. In August of 2024, she was on the Weekly Trash podcast and said about her and Camille declining to participate in the show, quote, "For our lives, it just didn't feel right at all. I already got exploited on the internet without my consent. You think I'm going to ask for that?"
But then you come on one season later.
Right. Exactly, right. But Taylor has also said that the two of them agreed to participate on the grounds that Taylor did not participate. And apparently this was because it wasn't like they were saying, like, it's either us or her. There was uncertainty about whether or not Taylor could participate given her arrest in 2023, which
So you're saying that if Taylor had been, like, not in season 1, they would have then been in season 1?
Like, they would have agreed to participate if she couldn't participate, but if she was going to participate, then they were not going to.
Okay, weirdos. Whatever.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily read that as, like, them saying to these networks, like, it's us or her. Like, I don't think they were pulling, like, a parent trap. I think that they were just saying, like, if she's going to be there, we're not. If she is going to be there, no worries. We're not going to do it type thing. Although the thing that I have to say about this, and like my biggest gripe with the Mormon Wives show in general, and I love the show, don't get me wrong, like it's made up in drama for sure, but I was under the impression when they were releasing this show that it was going to be about the swingers. Like, I thought that all of the swingers were going to be in it. And so I was extremely disappointed when I started watching the show, and I was like, what the hell? There's only one person that was involved in this scandal?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I was like pissed about that. I remember before I really knew a whole lot about this situation, I was like really upset because I wanted to hear from the swingers. I wanted to know what was going on. Me and my extensive knowledge of the Mormon church were like, what is this, you know?
That's fair.
So in case anyone's not familiar with the arrest that I just mentioned, which does take place at the end of the very first episode of season 1 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Taylor Frankie Paul started dating a man named Dakota Mortensen after the scandal broke in 2022. And in February of 2023, she was arrested by the Harriman Police Department on misdemeanor charges for assault, criminal mischief, and commission of domestic violence in the presence of a child. When the two of them, she and Dakota, got in an argument after a night of drinking. In August of 2023, she pled guilty to aggravated assault, and her remaining charges were dismissed. They now have one child together, but they are no longer in a relationship.
Good riddance.
So obviously I just skipped over a shitload of what happened in her life when she started dating him, but this episode is not about their relationship, so go watch season 1 and 2 of Mormon Wives. Getting back to Taylor and Miranda, the two of them stopped being friends for a while for obvious reasons, but we have since seen them hash it out on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and we've also seen Chase and Taylor interact, which was not a great moment for either of them.
No, it really wasn't.
It was quite dramatic. In terms of the swinging timeline prior to the scandal breaking, it's a bit unclear how long this was going on, but I found an article from a publication called The Direct, which said that they had been swinging for a couple of years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, this is unverified if I had to guess, so take that with a grain of salt. But if that is true, you're correct. That is a long time. Taylor says that in terms of her kids, they were usually staying with her mom when these swinging parties would take place, but there were occasions where they would be asleep in a different part of the home, which I just think is like a little disturbing to hear, but also I think it's a bit dangerous. Like, I think it's dangerous to have all of these adults in this house with children and like nobody, they're all drinking and like heavily drinking, and like nobody's there to, what if something happened to one of the kids? Like what if they needed someone to drive somewhere? I think it's like that's probably the most irresponsible part of all of this. But after she broke the divorce and the scandal, she did say that she and her ex-husband Tate were on good terms despite her infidelity, and that the cheating was just the tip of the iceberg in reference to the issues that led to their divorce, which seems to be the case for maybe all three of these couples, to be completely honest.
They already had issues prior.
Yeah. Taylor says on the Vile Files that the reason she came clean about the swinging and the affair is because other women in MomTok were liking comments about her being a cheater and a husband stealer, and she just felt like she was being raked over the coals for something that they had all been participating in just a few nights earlier, and she felt that it was unfair. As of today, we are officially 3 seasons into one of the best shows on TV, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, premiering season 3 today, where they
Season
definitely
4.
discuss. Is it?
If it isn't, then I've been saying season 3 this whole episode.
Let's look.
Maybe
Season
you're
3.
right. Maybe you're right. Oops. Release a correction.
Release a correction. It's season 3.
Yeah, you're right.
Season 3 comes out today. It's so good. They definitely discuss the scandal. I honestly don't know if I think that, I don't think that they'll discuss it really probably at all this season, just because it has been addressed, and now that Miranda is kind of back in the group, it's like there's nothing to discuss.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think we've moved on in the show for sure.
I think you're right, and I think what makes this show so good is that there's so many other topics that they hit on that are
So
taboo
true.
within the Mormon
Oh my
faith.
God, yeah.
And it kind of feels like everyone is just sort of, I mean, there are many of the cast members who are not even Mormon anymore, but it feels like the ones that are just sort of like grappling a lot with their faith, which is interesting to watch, regardless of how we feel about the show, which is positive. The Mormon Church is less than thrilled with the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and the way that
Aren't
it
they
portrays
always?
the church.
Are they ever thrilled?
I mean, you're so right. Do the leaders of the Mormon Church ever feel optimistic or
Do
positivity?
they know joy?
Do they know joy? Do they want to live a fun life? I'm not sure. Because if they did, they would be watching this show. I can promise you that.
I'm sure they are. They just can't say it.
Obviously they are. Because
they're eating it up.
They released a statement about it. And I don't know how they would know these details had they not watched the show. The Mormon Church released a statement titled "When Entertainment Media Distorts Faith." That's what it's called. And an excerpt from this statement is as follows. Quote, "Some portrayals of the church are fair and accurate, but others resort to stereotypes or gross misrepresentations that are in poor taste and have real-life consequences for people of faith. We understand the fascination some in the media have with the church, but regret that portrayals often rely on sensationalism and inaccuracies that do not fairly and fully reflect the lives of our church members or the sacred beliefs that they hold dear," is what they have to say about this whole scandal. But nonetheless, I really don't think that this show is going anywhere. And of course, we all know that the next chapter of Taylor Frankie Paul's story is The Bachelorette, which I believe airs in March of 2026. So
yes,
I for one am very curious if they will address the scandal on her season.
I'm sure they will, because they love to bring up everything.
They do, but also ABC and The Bachelor are so conservative with stuff like this.
Yeah, that's really fair. I don't know.
Like they're very censoring when it comes to anything that could be deemed appropriate.
She'll just keep referring to it as her past. My past in the past, But she'll never say it.
I bet you're so right. I think you just hit the nail on the head. Abso-fucking-lutely, they're gonna say. My past doesn't define me. I'm excited to see where this journey takes me. Like, good lord. But yeah, that is the story of the Mormon swinging scandal.
Did you know Tate had a baby with another kid?
With
oh my God.
Woman?
With another woman.
I did not know that.
Yeah. January 6th. Wait, nope. August 27th, 2023. Cute baby girl is coming in October. We cannot wait to meet her.
Oh my God, that's wild. Are they married?
I don't know. He posted a happy Mother's Day for her, but I don't know who this is. Bailey Paul. So I guess they are married. I don't think I ever realized Paul is, not, that's her married name, Taylor's.
Oh yeah. It does kind of have a nice ring to it, though, doesn't it?
No, it's perfect. Taylor Frankie Paul flows right off the tongue.
It really does. Is there anything that surprised you or anything that you learned?
Yeah, the fourth couple, obviously they never like fully said anything that they were in it or not, but I believe that they were because like everybody's just so taboo. Just say it. Say you did it and move on.
You mean Brayden and McKenna?
No, the other one, Camille and her husband.
Well, Taylor does say that they were not involved.
Whatever,
So,
sure.
yeah, I mean, it certainly would. I always wondered if maybe, like, Demi and her husband or Jesse and her husband were.
I don't think that Taylor really likes them enough.
I was kind of thinking that too, but
But
it just seems like out of anyone, they would be the two that would be most likely to participate.
like it doesn't surprise me, but it did surprise me that literally all three of them got divorced because of this. I'm like, did none of you think ahead? Like, what were we like? What was our thought process and how you thought this was gonna end well with your friends?
I think that that's also something that they talk a little bit about on the show is the fact that they were all so young. Like, they were too young to be doing something like this, and like,
well, they were too young to be married.
Yeah, that part. And they also didn't set rules. Like, they kind of took this idea of soft swinging and were just kind of like, okay, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do, but that's so, I mean, the lines get blurred so easily, you know? I feel like
They
that
do.
was really where they messed up.
Yeah, they do.
And then, of course, you know, we have, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Taylor Frankie Paul fan, but she's unhinged.
I love her.
But she is unhinged. I would think
Well,
most
yeah.
people would agree with that sentiment. So I just think it's like when you put a Taylor Frankie Paul type personality into a situation like this, you know, things are bound to maybe go haywire.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Also, and her life in general is still very chaotic.
I don't think her life will ever not be chaotic.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of like her.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we are fans and we cannot wait to watch the new season.
I am super excited.
Yes, we will be talking about it, the first episode, on Tuesday's Reality Digest. I believe that date is the...
Oh, I don't know the dates. I don't know dates.
18th?
Sure.
Our Reality Digest on November 18th, Tuesday, will be the first episode of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh, beautiful.
And I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I had fun writing it. It was an easy write and entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Thanks for listening.
We love each and every one of you so much. Bye.
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 Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week for more pop culture chaos. The stories we cover are based on research and publicly available sources. While we strive for accuracy, some details may be disputed or unverified, and this episode is for entertainment and informational purposes only.